And we are live. This is Tracking the Tropics for August 21st, 2020. I'm Isaac Schaff with STORMWATCH Media.
I'm Storm Tracker. I'm Forecaster JD Rat.
All right. And obviously we have plenty to get to, especially for Tropical Storm Laura that has formed over the Atlantic just off the Leeward Islands. We're going to look at the satellite here. Obviously, it's still buffering a bit. We can see that. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, kind of zoom out, see where we have an idea of the organized circulation that's in place. Yeah, it looks like we have a broad area of circulation that's, I think, further south. Yeah, we got a southern area of circulation within there. This is the high base convection that's hurtling around that, and looks like the southern, the southern low pressure associated with that. Obviously, we can see a little bit of spiraling within that area. And I'm going to pause it, see if this last graphic can develop. Hopefully it will. Looks like I'm surprised nothing's loading there. So yeah, we can see some broad circulation within there. Obviously, a lot of the upscale growth is focused up here, and we can see that I believe this is where the higher contrast and surface pressure is located down here, because we can see how we have activity that's we have a lot of the shear that's focused down around there as well, and we're going to pay attention to how that develops. And yeah, we will. 1 second. Yeah, and now we're going to show everyone the LoRa track guidance. This has changed since this morning.
Okay.
And we're going to zoom in a bit just to show everyone. Initially, see, we've had a consensus, and I'm going to see if we can get the 12 Zulu information. I saw it this morning, and all of these models put it to near between Mobile and Pensacola, the model track guidance within like 96 hours. Now we can see that we're going to have a persistent westward motion with this. That's what the consensus does show. Some of these models have this curving off north at 96 hours, but a lot of us have a persistent westward motion for the next 120 hours, and then we see a northward curve. So what that does indicate is that I believe we're going to have high pressure domes settle down into the plains midweek. And obviously with 14L, maybe with the slower track of 14L, Tropical Depression 14. If that tracks into the area a bit slower, then this may have a further westward motion. And obviously if that stuff happens, like what we just said, the slower track of 14L and the faster and the more persistent westward track of 13 or LoRa now. So 14L is likely to be named Marco very soon. We'll get to that very soon. But yeah, I could see with the slower track with Marco coming out of the Gulf and a persistent westward motion on LoRa, then there could be more proximity, or they'll be closer in proximity to one another. And if we have two systems, obviously this is the first time in recorded history, and obviously to my knowledge, that we've had two different named systems in the Gulf at once, or like the forecast says so. And obviously this is pending further track developments. I mean, there's still that consensus with that persistent westward motion, and this one curved off way early. I don't know if I think that is being underdone a little bit with the westward motion.
Yeah.
However,
people need to be aware.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, with these systems in closer into proximity within each other, I'm also going to show everyone the 14L. We will get into more details about this soon, but see. there's plenty more model spread with 14L as opposed to 13L. There's a good consensus that a huge chunk of the central to the central Gulf Coast will see impacts from this system, Laura in particular. But 14L, we have a consensus that areas a little bit further west than Laura there. And 14L, obviously, this system, yeah, I believe this will be making landfall a little bit, yeah, a little bit before Laura. I mean, landfall is probably going to happen a little bit before. However, you can see that the same similar areas, and with it being in close proximity to each other, I mean, the low associated with 14, it is slated to become a hurricane at some point. I mean, particularly when it's over water and there's plenty of warm Gulf water and high pressure that's clearing the area between Laura and what's projected to be Marco there. Like as long as that high pressure kind of divides the two systems and whatnot, that will kind of that's one reason we could see higher wind shear associated with 14L. And you can see that one of these systems shows a more west-northwesterly track. And a lot of us have a persistent due northwest track, maybe a little bit of a north-northwest track, and just 1 degree and persistent directional change with that the track. I mean, it could significantly change the impacts. But again, a lot of us have the consensus shows that this will be over southeast Texas coast. Some of the models bringing us into Louisiana coast, the central low associated with what's projected to be Marco. Yeah, again, I'm going to open the Marco, what's expected to be Marco. Oh, here's the Atlantic satellite loop. Obviously, we'll get to that very soon. And then here's Tropical Depression 14. And obviously, this is going to take a while to buffer here. I'm going to have that open here so we can discuss that when this loads. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm going to kind of see what we got going on here. We can see the high pressure dome that's hanging out over the Gulf areas south there. We have that trough of low pressure. You can see that digging over the East Coast there. Yeah, we got low pressure hovering over the Tennessee Valley into the Appalachians there, and we can see the upper trough. It's still hanging down. We got that jet over the Gulf, and we can see the warm Gulf waters. All of this shower and storm activity advecting into Florida, into the southeast coast. We're going to keep a very close eye on that, and then. Obviously, this is 14L there, and then this would be Laura right here over the Leeward Islands. And we can see the area of shear that's down in there, the central low. This is a broad area of circulation. Obviously, we can see the southern end there. Yeah, this is rapidly strengthening there. We can see that we can see the moisture that spirals down in there, and obviously that is going to be definitely some very heavy rain and wind impacts that are likely over the windward or the Leeward Islands into Puerto Rico here very soon. There are already tropical storm warnings in Puerto Rico and across much of the Atlantic basin there into and areas just, I believe, well offshore of Florida. I believe those are yeah, we got warnings off for the seas there, so we'll keep a close eye on that. And then here is that broad tropical wave, tropical depression 14. There is circulation within there as well. We can see It's a little bit slower, the southern end there. It's probably well into here somewhere, where the highest shear is located there. And obviously this trough, what I believe is going to happen with that is that will increase the shear with this, and that will help the system strengthen as it's in the open Gulf. And you know, this wave here, obviously, the system will be tracking a bit slower. That's what I believe with 14L. 14L will be tracking a bit slower through the Gulf. And then the situation with Laura, there's plenty of shear to work with. Yeah, we can see the circulation within there, and yeah, this system it's going to be a further westward motion, and this will have a faster motion within that this area. We can see, yeah, this is 5-degree longitude contour lines here. We really pick up in motion there as we push through the Dominican Republic, or Jamaica, Cuba, all these areas. And we can see that it kind of slows down as we get closer to landfall. And then we can see the slower motion as it goes through the Atlantic Basin there into the Yucatan Peninsula. And then we can see the speed really ramps up here at about 48 hours. And then this is where it gets to peak intensity. We're going to look at the intensity guidance here coming up. And as that tracks into the Texas coast, Louisiana, this will be in pretty good close proximity to Laura. And obviously, there has been some speculation whether the two systems could merge. I mean, the circulation of one system will probably be much stronger than the other. So obviously, the two central lows might not congeal with each other, but one system could pick up the other circulation, or the wind shear would be highest with one system. But if one system weakens and they get to closer in strength, that would probably be further likely for these two systems could end up merging. We don't know that yet, because obviously there's still plenty of differences in track to work with. And this is at 144. This is at 96. So 14L will likely make landfall before Laura does. However, if this westward motion really picks up, I mean, this system could make it to the Gulf in time for that to happen. And we're going to look at, I'm going to get some model guidance on here, kind of give us an idea. All right, just going to scroll through. Feel free to leave any questions.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, September, for the comment. Yeah, I'm gonna see what
she said.
centimeter surface wind looks like on this model and compare it to kind of the other models, and see if we can get a glimpse of both systems. See, this is Laura. Yeah, still loading there. Yeah, the winds. Yeah. We're at tropical storm force with Laura right now. Looks like, I believe the motion's going to be the most concerning, with the wind strongest on the right quadrant. So far as that pushes, yeah, we can see as that pushes into Florida. Maybe the intensity is a little bit underdone here. Obviously, this is just the GFS, just one of the models that we interpret at once.
What about the NAM?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just a shorter term model. We can see, yeah, the low associated with 14L. I believe it's the circulation's being picked up on there. I mean, we can't see the L for 14L on here, but I mean, I'm definitely seeing some inferences that, I mean, the stronger low pressure, we can see that intensify. Um, you know, I believe the systems probably won't be in too much close proximity to each other at this time. So, I mean, the low will probably deepen a little bit. Yeah, we're probably landfalling somewhere close to 1,000 millibars. And I mean, this is just one model interpretation. I mean, a lot of us go, I think GFS kind of picks up this consensus there. We can see the gust near 50, or the sustained wind actually at 52 knots, obviously higher gusts expected. And obviously this intensity is probably a bit underdone. We could see embedded hurricane force gusts probably just by the look of things.
Yep.
It is, well, I mean, you know, if there's a gust that lasts for a minute, obviously that becomes 1 minute sustained, and that's when we become potential hurricane. And I gotta just check my comments here.
Jonathan might come back in, he said.
Okay, great. All right, one moment. Sorry, I just had to. All right, so yeah, now we're gonna take a moment to open intensity guidance. So the intensity guidance with both systems here. Obviously, this has to be LoRa's intensity guidance there. GFS, that is not a pressure dependent model. I mean, that is just a broad scale model that just, a lot of that is based off of weather balloon launches across the United States. So, I mean, that's why the intensity is underdone. This is, a lot of these models are interpreting more like satellite and sea pressure, temperature, and such. And yeah, we'll get Jonathan to talk in a minute here. We can see the more rapid intensification kind of pushing in. It kind of fluctuates a bit from 24 to 60 hours, but still some rapid intensification here coming in from about 72 hours to 108 hours. And obviously, a lot of us have consensus of becoming a low at, Jonathan, welcome back. So we can see peak intensity around 108. So, I mean, what I'm most concerned about is obviously the consensus of becoming a hurricane for Laura at peak intensity. And this is close to landfall right here. That GFS model was just one interpretation of that. So category 1 and category 2 strength is most favored here, and at least ranging from borderline to Cat 2. I mean, some models, this one's probably overdoing it a tad bit for now, but I mean, we still got that shot at becoming a major hurricane. The consensus probably ranges into becoming a low-end hurricane to at least probably become a hurricane. It is possible. We'll just have to keep a close eye on that. And I'm going to pull up the intensity guidance on 14L and see when, obviously, peak intensity, we can probably anticipate a hurricane with that as well. Obviously, we're going to 14. Looks like we're getting some really rapid intensification. Obviously, our expectations have really bumped up, and now we can see peak intensity at 72 hours before it really falls apart as this gets closer into where Tropical Storm Laura is.
All right, you want to let Jonathan talk a little bit?
Probably low in Cat 2 strength, a couple of these models are showing.
Chad, Laura will become a hurricane.
Yeah, so Jonathan.
Yeah.
All right, we get Chad.
So I'm going to do this. Pop this up, and I have something else I want to show. And it's now my metropolitan area has been put in uncertainty for a tropical storm hitting us by next Wednesday in the Dallas area. And Chad says Laura will become a hurricane as of now. The NHCC has it at 75, but the Gulf It's so warm that it could reach 100 to 110 miles per hour. And that's true. Tomorrow I'll show you the water temperature because I didn't have time to throw that in my show today. So I'm gonna pop these up. I'm gonna pop these up. And I'm gonna start off with the weather pattern for Saturday. Let's see if you can see it. I'm gonna start off with the weather pattern here, looking ahead pattern for Saturday, just across our particular area, which is the south, the southern region, southern area. From the map goes all the way over to Florida. Low pressure disturbance moves through tonight across North Texas, being Central Texas tomorrow. Then you have the L down here that'll be approaching. That will be Marco by tomorrow. But this is what's going to steer what could be Marco. It's the big blue H. And that's what I need you to focus on, is the high pressure, because it's going to settle in by Sunday. And then you can see that there's the H here. It moves over to Dallas or over Oklahoma into the North Texas area, Nebraska. That is going to have to be worth watching. But then we have what will be Marco approaching here on Monday. There you can see I highlighted it. It says Marco and Laura. Laura won't be a hurricane yet on Monday. It'll be a hurricane by Tuesday. Marco will be a hurricane on Monday, though. And this is the deal, Isaac. I know you see these two H's. Those are high pressure systems. Now, it's going to be all where the high pressure is particularly good. And this particular thing is here. You can see the Cat 1s. There's Laura, there's Marco. They're both Category 1 hurricanes hitting the Gulf at the same time. And the last time this happened was way back into 1900s. So this would be the second time this ever happened. So if you want to, if you're on the Facebook, you can take a snapshot of this, because this is weird. It's never happened before. But this is why I'm starting to downplay the track, the cone of uncertainty over here are parts of North and West Texas, parts of North and Northwest Texas. The thing is, we'll have a high pressure system over North and Northwest Texas. So Marco would have to turn either in between the two high pressures, meaning it'll go north to turn west. And at this, the National Hurricane Center is taking Marco toward, and you can see the cone of uncertainty, the Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio. Of course, Houston may take a direct hit from this. It's a possibility because, of course, they're closer to it. Now, the thing is actually in my North Texas weather, I'm upping the temperatures between now and Wednesday closer to 100, and because we're going to have a lot more dry air in here, and dry air heats up better.
That's going to make it hot.
Monday morning, tropical storm Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning. It'll be a tropical storm as well. And this is the thing here. This is my thinking in terms that it comes into highly popular Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. High pressure will still be here. So now I'm just taking what the National Hurricane Center is and making some emphasis on what I think here on the graphic. By Wednesday, yes, there could be some rain as far as North and Northwest Texas, but I'm thinking most of the rain will be in Mississippi down to Del Rio, Texas. And
how much we don't know.
Something else that's weird for this that a lot of people exactly how much we don't know. This is something else that I wanted to show here. 2 hurricanes in the Gulf. Yeah. That's the track of Marco. That's the track of new tracks of Laura from this morning. So have we ever had this happen before? Yes, we have. It happened way back. If I recall, I heard someone say 1908. We had 2 of them in the Gulf of Mexico hit at the same time. Both landfall and hurricanes, and that's looking at. And I'm thinking Laura will have multiple landfalls off of what the track is showing, because it's going through islands and going through the Keys, make a landfall in Florida, then it gets back over the Gulf water, then possibly make a landfall. Some might possibly landfall from Louisiana to probably Mississippi, maybe Alabama from the latest cone of uncertainty here, Isaac.
Well, it's going to make a mess too.
Yeah, I will definitely say that, the low pressure associated with Marco could hold together.
Just Chad's message.
And yeah, the conditions with that high pressure are going to be obviously there's going to be a contrast in pressure between that high and low, Jonathan. So, I mean, that may help the system to be a little bit stronger at landfall as well. Or in particular with your inference on Marco, and then we can see Laura landfalling before Marco. Or no. Actually, it's vice versa. Marco before Laura. But I mean, Laura, obviously the westward motion could be, it could persist for a longer, it can persist for a longer time and track into the area faster, or track into the Gulf faster. And if that does happen, I mean, the two systems would be in much closer proximity to each other, and I believe the speed with Marco, or what is slated to become Marco rather, will pick up, will really ramp up as it crosses through the basin there, and as it kind of it gets around the Yucatan and whatnot. And I looked at the model earlier, and we showed it not long ago. I will say that the low is, or this whichever system is stronger, obviously peak intensity with Laura would probably be a little ways around landfall, somewhere around there. Marco's peak intensity is before landfall. That's kind of what the consensus is, or that's what we saw earlier. We're expected to become a low-end hurricane at, or it is increasingly likely we will probably end up seeing low-end hurricane status out of what is slated to become Marco sometime on Monday, if I'm correct. And obviously it weakens a bit. Probably the parent circulation with Laura would be one reason why it it would weaken the other circulation. I mean, if they are at similar strength, and the one system picks up the other circulation and whatnot, and they are in much closer proximity to each other, then that is where the Fujari might be more likely to happen. Just depending on
All right,
how.
let me, and Isaac, I'm sorry, but let me touch on that since we're talking about that now. I'm gonna pop these back up again, and I'm gonna show you the one that says rare appearance. I'm gonna pop my graphic back up. So, here we are. It's popping up. Yes, and I'm going to point you how much in terms of, I'm worried about the latitude is this way. They'll be closer in longitude than they will in latitude. And he said the Fujari effect. See, Cat 1 here, and this one makes landfall here. Now, if this track turns this way, back towards Louisiana, this track is going through Texas, and the cone goes into Arkansas and Oklahoma as well from Marco. But if these were to merge, go to Mississippi, back over to Shreveport this way, and somewhere around just south of Little Rock, that's where the Fujari would happen. I'm going to say would. He was interesting, but these two are very close into each other. Now the thing is, which one could be stronger? We don't know. And I'm going to say this as well. When Hannah was supposed to hit the Texas coast, it was only for a tropical storm, but became a Cat 1, very strong Cat 1 hurricane. So they're forecasting a Cat 1, but it's expected to make landfall as a Cat 1. But could it be Cat 2, Cat 3? It's a possibility. I'm not going to say Cat 4. I think that's just way over. It may still be just a Cat 1 because it's going over multiple land areas, so it's going to make multiple landfalls. Consider that that's going to be the stronger storm here. Marco will be the weaker storm. That's my fall apart. And the remnant will probably assert everywhere from Texas on over to Alabama. And that's what the GFS was showing yesterday. Once this hits land, the remnants just go all the way up to Nebraska. It's just rain from this storm. So I don't know. We don't know if the Fujari will happen. But as this graphic says, that's 2 hurricanes in the Gulf, and it's a rare appearance. This will only be the second time on record that we'll have 2 hitting at the same time. And in terms of the merger, look at the cones, Isaac. They're quite they're quite close to each other.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem, I bet.
Yeah, and I will say, maybe another thing you could do, Jonathan, next time, maybe you could share the screen and show me the graphics a little bit closer. But I mean, I do understand where we're getting here with the.
I just think there's going to be some changes in this and adjustments on this forecast, but people need to realize that things could change in the next couple of days, or this thing could shift different ways, or it can go that way, and so many miles it can miss your area, right, Jonathan?
Yeah,
that's right. Just exactly right. And I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Isaac, you can go ahead and talk while I get this screen share together.
Oh, okay.
So you can see these graphics better.
Yeah, so I mean, I will say that these two systems, we're confident about seeing some impacts from the system. So, like, it could be anywhere from flooding rains to obviously strong winds, and obviously with the rapid changes in pressure, I'm going to say that there's obviously going to be some high surf, all that kind of stuff. Possible storm surge flooding in some areas. We can get closer to there. And with the two low pressure systems combined, obviously the winds may be, the waves and sustained wind impacts will probably be felt across a broad area across the Gulf. I will say that.
Well, you have plenty of shear. You could get maybe some tornadoes can be intervented with some of the storms too, right? Just a few could.
Well, I mean, obviously we could see embedded circulation, tight circulations within there. That's generally what leads to, there's always sinking air at one and then the other side of the storm. And then that's generally what leads to, the embedded circulations within there. Obviously they are pretty tight and quick to develop. Then that's generally what leads to, your typical tropical system tornadoes. I mean, that's one thing to focus on, but I mean, the winds, the sustained wind,
the winds and all that.
It's going to be more impacts than the tornado threat.
Well, what everybody needs to do is have a plan, know where to go. I mean, that's the thing. Have water, go to the store when you need to. I wouldn't go right now. I would just wait to the couple of days something happened, because things could change. You could lose power. Make sure you have your flashlight, your tablets charged up. Make sure you have gas in your vehicles. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Yeah, looks like we got our screen up. Nice.
All right, looks like is the signal off.
Yeah, one second.
And it's something that we're gonna have to watch. If you want to go ahead and touch on that, Isaac, you can.
Yeah, I will say that this.
And we were talking about the Pajar effect. If it was gonna happen, it's gonna happen over Louisiana.
Yeah, and I will say that
Laura, I'm saying, like you were talking about the two storms merging.
Well, I mean, it is possible. I mean, it's not something that we're saying is expected to happen by any means there. But I mean, if Laura picks up a further consensus where there is the track really picks up, obviously that's probably based off of morning guidance, that graphic that I'm seeing there. I believe, Laura, that there are some models that pick up that persistent westward motion, and the motion gets a little bit higher. So, I mean, it may take a turn towards Louisiana, the track with Laura close to landfall. And there is some confidence, obviously, areas between Pensacola and, let's say, some areas around the mouth of the Mississippi River. some of those areas are more likely to see sustained impacts around landfall. And then Marco will be a little bit further west. And I believe Jonathan said something that right now they're closer together in latitude than longitude. And I believe that will change with these systems will be much closer at landfall, of course.
No, yeah, right now they are. It's vice versa. It's vice longitude and latitude, and the map shows it. Because the longitude goes vertical. I mean, the latitude goes vertical. Longitude is this way. You can see they're closer this way horizontally than they are vertically. So it'll be longitude. Next week, they'll be closer in longitude. Right now, they're closer in latitude than longitude.
And do we have any
before the storms have
sorry, your audio's been cutting out there, Jonathan.
that we knew these two were going to be in close proximity.
Yeah, so does anyone have any closing thoughts on this graphic here? I will.
What did you say?
Oh, nothing. You were cutting out, coming in and out there a little bit earlier there, Jonathan.
I mean, I didn't hear him.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying I had a hard time hearing you a bit earlier.
Well, I just think we all need to keep an eye on this.
Yeah, sure. And I mean,
I don't really have anything closing except I could.
All right. So yeah, obviously the westward motion with Laura will be a little bit.
All right, we can go ahead and end it.
All right. So yeah, I suppose obviously we will keep a very close eye on things. We will make some adjustments here over the coming days. And we're going to really keep a close eye on how the track changes with Laura, because if the trends are focusing on more of a westward motion, that will mean more sustained impacts confined across maybe a broader area over the central Gulf Coast. And obviously that could be flooding, winds, heavy rain, embedded circulations within there, isolated tornadoes, whatnot, and then obviously storm surge flooding is and like there's going to be a broad area of high surf probably as well with both of these systems. We're going to really be very careful on this forecast. And JD, do you have anything to say before we leave?
Well, are we going to do the same thing tomorrow?
Yeah, we will be back tomorrow afternoon, and I believe on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as we get into our coverage protocols, we will actually be, I'm actually going to be going on much more frequently throughout the day, just pending on the developments that we have coming out. And it'll just be, quick little touch-up updates, whatnot, and then if Jonathan has anything, obviously we'll get on in the afternoon and probably anytime he's gets around here as well.
Time tomorrow.
Yeah, and then, hold on, we got this comment here. The biggest two concerns are, one, the flooding. Most of the coast along the Gulf here is below sea level. So flooding, yeah. I mean, obviously New Orleans, obviously it's kind of a bowl.
Comments I see.
Just remember what happened in Katrina there. New Orleans was pretty much flooded and whatnot. So, I mean, the waves really caused flooding throughout the city and whatnot. So,
I'll join you in that, because even on Sunday,
Okay, it just depends. We'll get that schedule narrowed out very soon, but
I can too.
Yeah, sure. So I guess we got what we needed to cover for today. This is Tracking the Tropics for August 21st. We will be back tomorrow afternoon to discuss the latest new developments, and this will conclude our Tracking the Tropics for today. If anyone has any other comments, please private message any of our social media.
I'll be back tomorrow
we'll
then.
sure to address your questions.
We'll keep it all.
All right, stay tuned for updates. We'll see you soon.